We're the power of habit.
Oh, good. Okay.
So the power of habit, we are like 2 or 3 pages into the big pages. And there's a place in there where it says, there comes to mind a well-known poem by the author expressed in great psychological truth. If you think you're beaten, you are. So we're a couple of paragraphs past that. It is not unreasonable to expect that some statement, some idea, or some stimulating word of this reading course on the law of success will serve as the needed stimulus that will reshape your destiny. That's big. And redirect your thoughts and energies along the pathway that will lead you finally to your coveted goal of life. It is strange, but true, that the most important turning points in life often come at the most unexpected times and in the most unexpected ways. If people really understood those two lines, those two sentences, it is not unreasonable to accept that some statement, some idea, or some stimulating word of this reading course of the law of success will serve as the needed stimulus. That's all we ever look for in anything we do, is some kind of stimulus to move us, spur us, drive us into some new way, some new level of awareness. Some new needed stimulus that will reshape your destiny and redirect your thoughts and energies along the pathway that will lead you finally to your coveted goal of life. Next sentence. It is strange but true that the most important turning points of life often come at the most unexpected times and in the most unexpected ways. I have in mind a typical example of how some of the seemingly unimportant experiences of life often turn out to be the most important of all. And I'm relating to this ease because it shows also what a man can accomplish when he awakens to a full understanding of the value of self-confidence. The incident to which I refer happened in the city of Chicago while I was engaged in the work of character analysis. One day, a tramp presented himself at my office and asked for an interview. As I looked up from my work and greeted him, he said, "I have come to see the man who wrote this little book." As he removed from his pocket a copy of the book entitled Self-Confidence. This is a tramp talking to Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill is the author of this, which I had written many years previously. It must have been the hand of fate, quote unquote, he continued, that slipped this book into my pocket yesterday afternoon, because I was about ready to go out there and punch a hole in Lake Michigan, aka jump off a bridge somewhere and commit suicide. I had about come to the conclusion that everything and everybody, including God, had it in for me until I read this book. It gave me a new viewpoint and brought me the courage and the hope that sustained me through the night. I made up my mind that if I could see the man who wrote this book, he could help me get on my feet again. Now I am here, and I would like to know what you can do for a man like me. This is important. You need to listen to what's about to happen. While he was speaking, I had been studying him from head to foot, and I am frank to admit that deep down in my heart, I did not believe there was anything I could do for him, but I did not wish to tell him so. The glassy stare in his eyes, the lines of discouragement on his face, the posture of his body, the 10 days growth of beard on his face, the nervous manner about this man, all conveyed to me the impression that he was hopeless. But I did not have the heart to tell him so. Therefore, I asked him to sit down and tell me his whole story. I asked him to be perfectly frank and tell me, as nearly as possible, just what had brought him down to the ragged edge of life. I promised him that after I had heard his entire story, I would then tell him whether or not I could be of service to him. He related his story in lengthy detail, the sum and substance of which are this. He had invested his entire fortune into a small manufacturing business. When the World War began in 1914, it was impossible for him to get the raw materials necessary in the operation of his factory, and he therefore failed. The loss of his money broke his heart and so disturbed his mind that he left his wife and children and became a tramp. He had actually brooded over his loss until he reached the point at which he was contemplating suicide. After he had finished his story, I said to him, I have listened to you with a great deal of interest, and I wish that there was something which I could do to help you, but there is absolutely nothing. He became pale, and he became as pale as he will be when they laid him away in the coffin, and settled back into the chair, dropped his chin on his chest as much to say, that settles it. I waited for a few seconds and said, while there is nothing I can do for you, there is a man in this building to whom I will introduce you, if you wish, who can help you regain your lost fortune and put you back on your feet again. These words had barely fallen from my lips when he jumped up, grabbed me by the hand, and he said, for God's sakes, lead me to this man. It was an encouraging note that he had asked for the God's sake. For God's sake. This indicated that there was still a spark of hope within his breast. So I took him by the arm and I led him out into the laboratory where my psychological tests and character analysis were conducted. And I stood him in front of what looked to be a curtain over a door. I pulled the curtain aside and uncovered a tall looking glass in which he saw himself head to foot. Pointing my finger at the glass, I said, there stands the man to whom I promised to introduce you. There is the only man in the world who can put you back on your feet again. Unless you sit down and become acquainted with this man, you will never become acquainted with this man as you never became acquainted with this man before. You might just as well go over and, quote, punch a hole, unquote, a hole in Lake Michigan, because you will be of no value to yourself or this world until you know this man better. He stepped over to the looking glass, rubbed his hands over his bearded face, studied himself from head to foot for a few moments, then stepped back, dropped his head, and began to weep. I knew that the lesson had been driven home, so I led him back to the elevator and sent him away. I never expected to see him again, and I doubted that the lesson would be sufficient to help him regain his place in the world, because he seemed too far gone for the redemption. He seemed to not only be down, but almost out. A few days later, I met this man on the street. His transformation had been so complete, I hardly recognized him. He was walking briskly, his head tilted back. That old, shifting, nervous posture in his body was gone. He was dressed in new clothes from head to foot. He looked prosperous and even felt prosperous. He stopped me and related what had happened to bring about this rapid transformation from the state of abject failure to one of hope and promise. Just as I was on my way out your office, he exclaimed, I was just on my way to your office, he exclaimed, to bring you the good news. I went out that very day I was in your office, a down and out tramp. And despite the appearance, I sold myself on a salary of $3,000 a year. Think of it, man. $3,000 a year. And my employer advanced me enough money with which to buy some new clothes, as you can see for yourself. He also advanced me some money to send home to my family. And I am once more on the road to success. It seems like a dream when I think about that only a few days ago I had lost hope and faith and courage and was actually contemplating suicide. I was coming to tell you that one of these days, when you least expect me, I will pay you another visit. And when I do, I will be a successful man. I will bring with me a check signed in blank and made payable to you. And you may fill in the amount because you saved me from myself by introducing me to myself. The self which I never knew until I stood in front of that looking glass and pointed out the real me. That man turned and departed in the crowd in the crowded streets of Chicago. I saw for the first time in my life what strength and power and possibility lie hidden in the mind of a man who has never discovered the value of self-reliance. Then and there I made up my mind I too would stand in front of that same looking glass, point an accusing finger at myself for not having discovered the lessons which I have helped others to learn. I did stand before that same looking glass, and as I did, I then and there fixed in my mind as my definite purpose in life the determination to help men and women discover the forces that lie sleeping within them. The book you hold in your hands is evidence that my definite purpose is being carried out. The man whose story I have related is now the president of one of the largest and most successful concerns of its kind in America, with the business that extends from coast to coast, Canada to Mexico. A short while after the incident just related, a woman came to my office for personal analysis. She was then a teacher in Chicago public schools. I gave her the analysis chart and asked her to fill it out. She had been back at work on the chart, but a few minutes when she came back to my desk, handed me the chart and said, "I do not believe I will fill this out." I asked her why she decided not to fill out the chart, and she replied, "To be perfectly frank with you, one of the questions in this chart put me thinking, and I now know what is wrong with me. Therefore, I feel it unnecessary to pay you a fee to analyze me." With that, the woman went away, and I did not hear from her for almost 2 years. She went to New York City, became a writer of advertising copy for one of the largest agencies in the country, and her income at the time she wrote me was $10,000 a year. The woman sent me a check to cover the cost of my analysis fee because she felt that the fee had been earned, even though I did not render her the service that I usually render my clients. Hold on. Okay. The woman had sent me a check for the cost to cover the analysis fee because she felt that the fee had been earned, even though I did not render the service that I usually render my clients. It is impossible for anyone to foretell what seemingly insignificant incident may lead to an important turning point in one's career. But there is no denying that the fact that these turning points may be more readily recognized by those who have well-rounded out confidence in themselves. One of the irreparable losses to the human race lies in the lack of knowledge that there is a definite method through which self-confidence can be developed in any person of average intelligence. Without an immeasurable loss to society, what an immeasurable loss to civilization that young men and women are not taught this known method for developing self-confidence before they complete their schooling. For no one who lacks faith in himself is really educated in the proper sense of the term. Oh, what glory and satisfaction would be the happy heritage of the man or woman who could pull aside the curtain of fear that hangs over the human race and shuts out the sunlight of understanding that self-confidence brings, wherever it is in evidence. Where fear controls, noteworthy achievement becomes an impossibility. A fact which brings to mind the definition of fear as stated by the great philosopher. Fear is the dungeon of the mind into which it runs and hides and seeks seclusion. Fear is the dungeon of the mind into which it runs and hides and seeks seclusion. Fear brings on superstition, and superstition is the dagger with which hypocrisy assassinates the soul. In front of the typewriter on which I am writing the manuscripts for this reading course hangs the sign with the following wording in big letters. Day by day, in every way, I am becoming more successful. Replied, of course not. A skeptic who read the sign asked me if I really believed that stuff. And I replied, of course not. All it ever did for me was to help me get out of the coal mines where I started as a laborer, find a place in the world in which I'm serving upwards of 100,000 people in whose minds I am planting the same positive thought that this sign brings out. Therefore, why should I believe in it? Silly old man. As this man started to leave, he said, well, perhaps there is something to this sort of philosophy after all, for I have always been afraid that I would be a failure, and so my fears have been thoroughly realized. You are condemning yourself to poverty, misery, and failure, or you are driving yourself toward the heights of great achievement solely by the thoughts you think. You are condemning yourself to poverty, misery, and failure, or you are driving yourself toward the heights of great achievement solely by the thoughts you think. You are condemning yourself to poverty, misery, and failure, or you are driving yourself on toward the heights of great achievement solely by the thoughts you think. If you demand success of yourself and back up this demand with intelligent action, you are sure to win. Bear in mind, though, that there is a difference between demanding success and just merely wishing for it. You should find out what this difference is and take advantage of it. Do you remember what the Bible says? Look it up somewhere in the book of Matthew about those who have faith as a grain of mustard seed. Go at the task of developing self-confidence with at least that much faith, if not more. Never mind what they will say, because you might as well know that they will be of little aid to you as you climb up the mountainside of life toward the object of your definite purpose. You have within you all the power you need with which to get whatever you want or need in this world. And about the best way to avail yourself to this power is to believe in yourself. Know thyself, man. Know thyself. This has been the advice of philosophers all down the ages. When you really know yourself, you will know that there is nothing foolish about hanging a sign in front of you that reads, day by day, in every way, I am becoming more successful. With due apologies to the Frenchman who made this motto popular, I am not afraid to place this sort of suggestion in front of my desk. And what is more to the point, I am not afraid to believe that it will influence me so that I will become more positive and aggressive and an aggressive human being. More than 25 years ago, I learned my first lesson in self-confidence building. One night, I was sitting before an open fireplace, listening to a conversation between some older men on the subject of capital and labor. Without invitation, I joined in the conversation and said something about employers and employees settling their differences on the golden rule basis. My remarks attracted the attention of one man who turned to me with a look of surprise on his face and said, why, you are a bright boy, and if you would go out and get some schooling, you would make your mark in the world. Those remarks fell on fertile ears, even though it was the first time anyone ever told me that I was bright or that I might accomplish anything worthwhile in life. The remark put me to thinking, and the more I allowed my mind to dwell upon the thought, the more certain I became that the remark had back of it a possibility. It might be truthfully stated that whatever service I am rendering in the world and whatever good I accomplish could be accredited to that offhand remark. Suggestions such as these are powerful, and none the less so when they are deliberate and self-expressed. Go back now to the self-confidence formula and master it, for it will lead you into the powerhouse of your own mind, where you will tap a force that can be made to carry you to the very top of the ladder of success. Others will believe in you only when you believe in yourself. They will tune in on your thoughts and feel tune in on your thoughts and feel toward you just as you feel toward yourself. The law of mental telepathy takes care of this. You are continually broadcasting. You are continuously broadcasting what you think about. And if you have no faith in yourself, others will pick up on the vibrations of your thought and mistake them for their own. Once you understand the law of mental telepathy, you will know why self-confidence is the second of the 15 laws of success. Maybe you grabbed what he just said a second ago, but let me say it again and let me see if I can't clear it up. If you have no faith in yourself, others will pick up the vibrations of your thoughts and mistake them as their own. Not that they lack self-confidence in themselves, they will lack self-confidence in you. You should be cautioned, however, to learn the difference between self-confidence, which is based on sound knowledge and what you might know or what you can do as egotism, which is only based on what you wish you knew or could do. Learn the difference between these two terms and you will make yourself boresome, ridiculous and annoying to people of culture and understanding. Learn the difference between these two terms, or you will make yourself boresome, ridiculous, or annoying to people of culture and understanding. Self-confidence is something you should never be proclaimed. Self-confidence is something which should never be proclaimed or announced except through the intelligent performance of constructive deeds. If you have self-confidence, those around you will discover this fact. Let them make the discovery. They will feel proud of their alertness in having made the discovery, and you will be free from suspicion of egotism. Opportunity never stalks the person with a highly developed state of egotism. But brickbats and ugly remarks do. Opportunity forms affinities much more easily and quickly with self-confidence than it does with egotism. Self-praise is never a proper measure of self-reliance. Bear this in mind and let your self-confidence speak only through the tongue of constructive service, rendered without fuss or flurry. 2 more paragraphs. Self-confidence is the product of knowledge. Know yourself. Know how much you know, or how little, why you know it, how you are going to use it. 4 flushers come to grief. Therefore, do not pretend to know more than you actually do know. There's no use of pretense, because any educated person will measure you quite accurately after hearing you speak for 3 minutes. What you really are will speak so loudly that what you claim you are will not be heard. Believe in yourself, but do not tell the world what you can do. Show it. You are now ready for lesson 4, which will take you to the next step on the ladder of success. Dun, dun, dun. Takeaways. What'd you learn? What'd you hear?
Big one for me was you're condemning yourself to poverty, misery, and failure, or you are driving yourself onward to the heights of great achievement solely by the thoughts you think.
Didn't hurt that I read it 87 times, but yes. It sunk in.
Just goes, yeah.
So what do you do with that now? Awareness is good.
Awareness is good. And then setting up, I just had this visual of when you're bowling
Uh-huh.
and you're bowling with kids and you've got the bumpers up on the gutters.
Yep.
So installing bumpers.
So what would you say the bumpers are?
They're guardrail for dots going into the gutter.
But what would it be in the real world? It's neat to have the picture. What's the real world? What's your real world bumper? Ooh.
I'm curious to discover what that is.
Okay. Could it be your working out for yourself?
Oh, sure, that could be one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Could it be your morning intentions?
Certainly.
Okay. How many do you need for one side?
I mean, just one.
Okay. So you need one for each side then.
Mm-hmm.
What if you're going to bowl? What if the alley is a lot longer? What if the strike you want to hit is a lot longer? What can you change outside of traditional bowling rules? So you can put up bumpers. You want to know what else you might do?
Please.
What's that?
Please.
Okay. What if you used a ball that couldn't go in the gutter? These are your rules. What would be the ball you throw?
Yeah.
This is called mental plasticity. Think about what's the ball you throw, aka your why, your definite major purpose. Sessum, pressum, riggedy, riggedy, riggedy.
Oh, no, those
Yep.
this is
What's your DMP? How about what if the ball was pride?
yeah.
Well,
The
I don't
ball
want
is
it big.
to
I don't want it big.
the ball is to do proud.
So
Oh, it,
what's the
it needs to be big in
it
order
needs to
to
be big. So what does it knock down?
what does it knock down?
Yeah, it's your bowling. Otherwise, you're just rolling a ball. Well,
Well, it's gonna knock down um it's gonna knock over all of the goals that I'm setting for myself for next
okay. So
year.
what's one of the 10 goals that gets put up on the
150K.
okay, so write that down. What's another one? How about your desired weight?
Well, it's bigger than that. It's about being back in, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Um, bikini competition shape.
Okay. So do you have a bikini you'd wear?
Um, no, it will have to be special ordered.
Okay. Do you have a bikini from past time?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have that in the house?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll get that out.
Okay.
So we got 8 more pins to go. It's another pin.
Um, another pin is You're making me sweat.
I know. Good. Welcome. Hey, how are you? Welcome. First day we met.
Um, um,
Come on.
verbalizing this is difficult.
No, it's not. That's an old story. You may
Okay,
not want to say it,
you're
but
right.
that's, yeah, that's an
You're
old
right.
story. Yeah.
Um, 4 in-person retreats held here.
Excellent. Excellent. Write it down. Actually, you can write down, those are 4 pins. Each one of those is a project.
Okay, yeah.
So,
So
so
one for each season.
yeah. So now you got 6 pins. 4 more.
Okay. Um, book,
Okay. 3 more.
serving 100 new clients.
2 more.
Um,
Pool.
gosh. What was that?
Pool.
Oh, pool. Yes, that's a good one. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Yep. 1 more. Garden. Flower garden.
Thank you.
I listen.
Yes, you do.
So now you got 10, don't you?
Mhm.
Where you'd be in, so aren't you now glad you were interested in finding the answer?
Absolutely.
So now imagine you're going to go bowling,
Love it.
and imagine the ball is big enough to fit under where the pins come down, but it's too big to go in the gutter. Could be massively heavy. It could be just the right amount of heavy. Doesn't have to go fast if it's going to knock down all the pins, does it?
Mm.
So what if skill no longer was needed? What if just desire to get it started? What would be the head pin? What would be the pin you'd want up right up front?
Serving 100 new clients.
So if that's the only one you had, do all the others happen?
Very likely.
Okay. What would be the one in the front that you would be certain that all the others would happen? You're not going to like the answer, but it's on that list.
The retreats. No. Okay, you're gonna have to help me.
Okay, go ahead, list them. I'll nod when I think it's the right one.
150
Nope.
bikini competition.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So if you did that and served 100 clients, wouldn't everybody want what you're doing?
Yes.
Don't you like to be an example of what you want?
Yes.
So now, so your biggest pillar to work in is society
Yes.
and dealing with egos and dealing with self-confidence. If you do the actions which you know you're capable of and have the tools you have, and you become bikini functioning, who's not going to want to be around that trainer? How hard do you think it's going to be to survey when you show a before and after picture of you following your own protocols?
That would have a huge impact.
Now, it doesn't seem like it's the one, but that's the certain doing things in a certain way. How would you feel? Would you have any limitations in your capability or capacity?
No.
No. But we want to work on everything that's not us.
Hmm.
How's the sweating going?
It's buckets. It's buckets. I'm gonna have to shower before I go to bed.
So when you put on the bikini for the first time, who do you call?
I might call you.
I thought that might be the case.
Yeah,
How's that feel?
it feels great. Having that clarity is huge. It's huge.
How's it going to feel when you put it on and say, "Oh my God, I could never have put this on before"? You may not be there all the way, but it's evidence that another 3 weeks and I'm there.
Yeah.
Because you're so tiny, 5 pounds is off of you is like a small Queen Mary. I mean, it's just because of your body size. 5 pounds. People go 5 pounds. You lost 5 pounds. You have no idea what 5 pounds does on a 5 foot frame.
That's very true.
So you've got to be very careful about the total number, right? I have no idea. I mean, I could lose 5 pounds and you wouldn't know it. I could shave my nose hair, right? And lose 5 pounds. But you've got to be very cautious of that and understand that this is about you taking the steps that you teach. So what do you think it would take? How long do you think it would take if you didn't go nut job on it, but you went consistent about it?
Hmm. Typical time frame is 16 to 20 weeks.
Okay.
So 4 or
Alexa,
5 months.
what date is it? 16 weeks from now?
From now, will be Tuesday, April 1st, 2025.
Wow, April 1st, just before the event.
Wow.
That's 16 weeks from today. Would be today a good day to start?
Oh yeah. Oh, Salika's
I
birthday.
see that. Yeah, let's not get distracted.
Today is the perfect day to start.
I love it. So, what changes tomorrow so that you're proud of yourself? You've just started a 16-week intensive I Love Me course.
I'm going to go to the grocery store.
Okay. Do you need gas money? Because it's a long trip to your grocery store.
It's a long trip.
Oh my God, you better pack a lunch.
Yeah, it's a 45-minute drive. Um, yeah.
Okay. So, based upon your level of commitment, is there anybody in your arena who would like to go on a 16-week, get their body beach ready?
Oh, it's very possible.
Oh, yeah. So why don't you, but maybe that's another marketing piece saying, hey, listen, I have just made a commitment. I have my mentor who has a target on their back right now is has made it me commit to a 16-week program to become truly bikini ready. Anybody want to join me? Because I am going to walk you through it. I'm going to show you what I'm doing and you can participate. What if you got paid $10,000 to go do this course?
That would be
Okay. So guess what? You can do it digitally too.
sure.
Hmm. You can have body check-ins, you can do Zoom check-ins, you can do. So let your mind go to sleep on that. What do you call it? How do you create it? And who do you tell about it? Because you have between now and Friday to get people signed up. Good night.
Okay. Yeah, I'm supposed to sleep after that.
Well, yeah, because when will you be bikini ready?
April
Here's the
1st,
but
right now,
yes.
right now.
So how cool does it feel to have achieved one of your biggest goals? That's the pride you sit in. That's the proud you sit in.
Mhm.
There's your DMP.
Mhm.
So your DMP is on or before April 1st, I will be bikini ready. I will be at this BMI or whatever the indicators you want to use. And now you have to pay the price. What's the price you're going to do? I'm going to work out. I'm going to consume food differently. I'm going to consume at a competitive level. I know what it takes to burn the fat, maintain hydration, do whatever it is to go do that stuff. But that's the price you're going to pay. What's the result? April 1st, you're bikini ready. What's the reward?
Um, what's the reward?
And listen, it can be okay a little bit. Part of the goal, part of the reward is to be able to say, huh, look what you're missing out on.
Okay, I like that direction. I like that
Right?
direction. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit. If it's not revenge, it's because you're just going to look hot. You're going to feel hot. You're going to know that you've done it. You're going to do the work. You're going to be excited about it along the way. You're going to have all of these other women who are like, I can't believe we're doing this. This is my high school weight, my college weight. Just start playing that story out. And I can promise you, now would be a good time to start to help people get beach ready.
Yes, it is.
And
Thank you.
you got to do your before picture.
Okay,
You know that. You don't
I
have to
will.
show anybody yet, but once you get to a point to where you've seen the results, you can show the before picture. Your before picture is going to transform pretty quickly. You know that if you're committed to do what you know you can do.
Yes.
So guess what the other 4 people get to say on the call? Practice typing this out. Beach ready? Question mark. Type it out in the chat. Type it out. Type to her. This way you got to read, and that's all they got to say every day. Beach ready?
Oh, okay.
And
I
you know
understand
it. You
now.
know it. And you either say yeah, damn yeah, or hell no. And so one of the things, so here's what we've done. And who was I talking to? I was listening to this gentleman who understands how to manipulate society, right? If you wanted to control, like the way Hitler controlled and dropped the thing saying that we're the greatest Reich on the planet and everybody believed it. You've got to create a community. Then you've got to create inside. It's called inside nomenclature. The army calls us what? Civilians, civies. So now we've created a community here. And the community knows that we know what beach ready means. Everybody's going to ask, what's beach ready mean? Sorry, you weren't there. It makes it exclusive, doesn't it? And even if you try to explain it, oh, yeah, I get it. No, you can't explain it to them because that breaks the code. That breaks the feeling we all have committed to help Heather get to bikini ready. This is a mastermind. You have inside language. Well, I want to know what beach ready is. It's exactly what you think it is. And you leave it at that. Oh, we were talking the other night and Heather said that she wanted to have Sean made her sweat buckets and they don't care. They don't care. They don't care. They want to be a part of it, but it's too shallow. They can't get it. Does that make sense? You have to understand that sometimes the things you're a part of, this will never happen again. And that's part of your identity of helping people achieve success. I had a call today that would have blown y'all's mind, but it wouldn't have because you all kind of knew it, but you would have learned so much. But I don't talk about it. Why it doesn't do me any good to talk about how absolutely knock your socks off conversation. You weren't there. So rather than you do the FOMO, fear of missing out, oh, well, I want something like that. No, have your own. Just saying. What'd you learn? What'd you like, Heather?
Oh, I learned that in just a few short comments, you can guide someone to complete clarity.
Wow, that's a powerful statement. So you have that?
Yeah.
That's a lot different than I'm looking forward to the answer.
Yes. Yes, it is.
But isn't it nice that you found the answer?
It's beautiful. Yes.
Does it clear up? Does it allow all of the other things on the list to become easier to understand?
Yes.
And wouldn't it make sense that if you're going after this magnificent body, that you'll be able to serve 100 clients, that you'll be on your way to 150, that you'll be able to do the retreats?
Yes. All of the above.
Yep. And we'd never think of that because, well, that's all about me. And that's just being a little egotistical. I got to work harder. Sure, work harder, but be foxy sexy and work harder. Right?
Yes.
I love it. And all
Thank
from
you.
the thing that your thoughts do drive them, pretty much everything.
Everything.
Who else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways? What'd you learn? What'd you like? Congratulations, by the way.
I'm excited for you, Heather. I really am. I can see it. It's awesome. This, to me, just this whole thing between that I've just witnessed was that last line of believe in yourself and what you can do. Just don't talk about what you can do, show it. She's going to show it, and it's already affecting me. I can't even tell you. It's just that whole exercise you went through, and I can see it. I can see it's awesome. Thank you for breaking through and saying it out loud. That was awesome.
Remember when we went through and we were doing one of the morning meditations and we talked about in order to reach our goal, if in order to reach our financial goal that everyone has based upon the business model we have, the area we need to get better at is society. And we focus on finance, 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 finance. She's a wellness consultant, world-class wellness consultant, energy consultant, healing the body consultant. Go get your body, go get your bells, you're sexy. Go get your sexy on. Nothing wrong with that. Nobody told you you can't be that. Right, Dubby? Tell her. Tell her, Dubby. Yes, it's Heather. Rah, 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 rah. Tell her. Tell her. Come here. Tell her. Tell her. Come here. Yes, tell her. Tell her. Oh, get sexy. Go get bikini ready. Yes. You're a good boy. Who else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways?
This was awesome. Thank you, Heather. And it just brought back to me about when I think it was the Saturday call that you got me looking at it, and society came up. And it was neat to watch you walk her through that. It really resonated. So, and it just, reinforce that you have to have faith in yourself and belief in yourself. And how is other people going to see you if you don't have that? So yes, thank you.
I can tell you the other day I was talking with, I don't know, I was talking with Lisa or something, or maybe I think it was Lisa, and standing there in the kitchen, and she said, "You look good." And I pulled my shirt up, and there's just this little tiny bicycle roll, teeny tiny bicycle roll left. That's just sitting there. And I'm like, "This looks good, doesn't it?" She said, "Yes, it does." The fact that there was a little tiny roll versus everything was so that there was no roll. So yeah, we have to go JM3 ourselves, because there's not a long line of people waiting to do that for us. Who else? Anyone else? Thoughts, comments, questions? Take. Okay. I love it, love it, love it. Congratulations. Thank you for participating. I'm your head brain trainer. I'll see y'all where? I'm your head bikini man
The next event.
At the next bikini event.
at the next bikini event.
Beach ready.
Yeah, I will be a judge. All right, everybody, get some sleep. Enjoy your evening, and remember how powerful you are. Your thoughts do control everything. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you in the morning.